What if everything you thought you knew about random events was never true in the first place? What if reality doesn't unfold through accidents and coincidences, but through a hidden network of precise and meaningful connections that most people are trained to overlook? Those uncanny moments when you think of someone and suddenly your phone lights up with their message. The times you miss a bus only to realize you avoided an accident. Or when an opportunity appears out of nowhere at the exact moment you were ready for it. These aren't strokes of luck. They aren't probability tricks. They are direct communications from an intelligent universe that has always been trying to get your attention. For centuries, entire systems of power have worked tirelessly to bury this knowledge. And they succeeded because if you truly understood how synchronicity functions, you would no longer be a pawn in someone else's game. You would stop identifying as a helpless victim of chance and step into your true nature, a conscious architect of your reality. Governments, educational systems, mainstream science, and media all depend on you believing that life is random, meaningless, and mechanical. Because when you see the pattern, when you finally recognize that synchronicity is the operating language of the cosmos, you cannot be controlled anymore. Think about it. How many times have you felt that strange sensation of thinking about someone right before they contacted you? How many times have you suddenly changed your plans without knowing why, only to discover that choice saved you, guided you, or brought something extraordinary into your life? Most people brush these off as coincidence. But what if they are not coincidences at all? What if they are deliberate signals from a vast universal intelligence guiding you toward alignment? Carl Jung was one of the first modern scientists who dared to name this phenomenon. He called it meaningful coincidence. Events with no clear cause and effect relationship, but undeniable personal significance. Jung's public writings only scratched the surface. In his private journals, he admitted something far more radical. These events occur with mathematical precision, even though they appear causeless. He suggested that synchronicities demonstrate what most of science refuses to acknowledge. The separation between mind and matter is nothing but illusion. This is where we go deeper than Jung ever dared in public. Synchronicity is not an occasional curiosity. It is not a psychological trick. It is the fundamental architecture of reality. It is the way the universe communicates with you daily, providing signs, confirmations, and warnings. What appears like chaos is a carefully constructed veil, designed to keep you from noticing the truth. From the moment you entered this world, you were conditioned to ignore these messages. You were taught to trust only what can be measured, weighed, or quantified. Everything outside that narrow band of perception was dismissed as superstition, imagination, or delusion. But this wasn't an accident of culture. It was a deliberate programming. Why? Because a person disconnected from synchronicity becomes the perfect consumer, the obedient worker, the easily managed citizen. But someone who tunes into the deeper order of reality becomes ungovernable. They no longer outsource authority. They begin to trust the signals of the universe itself. Here is the disturbing truth that power structures have always feared. You were never a powerless pawn tossed around by random events. You have always been entangled in the very field that generates those events. Every situation, every encounter, every opportunity is a mirror of your internal state. Your beliefs, your emotions, your frequency. This creative power, your ability to influence reality through your own consciousness, might be the single most suppressed truth in human history. Mainstream science has insisted that you are just an accident in a dead mechanical universe. That story keeps you small. But the moment you start recognizing synchronicity, something irreversible happens. The veil cracks. Patterns begin to reveal themselves. You realize the universe has been whispering to you all along, and you become an active participant in the creation of your own path. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And this is precisely why it's so threatening. Because a society of individuals attuned to synchronicity can no longer be manipulated by fear, scarcity, or division. They recognize reality as fluid, flexible, responsive. They stop looking outside for validation and instead tune into the deeper rhythm of life itself. You were taught to believe your consciousness is trapped inside your skull, a byproduct of brain chemistry, but that is false. Your awareness is not localized. It is an expression of the same universal field that permeates everything. Synchronicities are the cracks in the illusion, the moments when the underlying unity of existence becomes briefly visible. This knowledge isn't new. Ancient civilizations lived with complete awareness of this invisible web of connection. The suppression of that wisdom is one of the most successful erasures in history. The Chinese encoded it in the Ching, a system built entirely on the principle that every moment in time carries inherent qualities, linking all events. What today is dismissed as coincidence, the I Ching understood as inevitable expression of cosmic order. The I Ching wasn't fortune-telling. It was a precise technology for reading the information embedded in each moment. Egyptian initiates worked with similar tools. Their hieroglyphs weren't just language. They were symbolic codes designed to activate states of consciousness and open channels of synchronistic connection. They trained themselves to read reality like a mathematician reads equations. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria wasn't just about burning knowledge. It was about wiping out practical manuals on how to consciously co-create with the universe. Shamanic cultures across the globe also knew reality is not objective. It is participatory. Consciousness and matter are always in dialogue. For them, synchronicities were not strange. They were the most natural evidence of that relationship. In Vedantic philosophy of India, the illusion of separation itself was called Maya. What we perceive as separate events are ripples in one continuous ocean of consciousness. Synchronicities are simply the moments when Maya dissolves, when unity peeks through the cracks. Modern research eventually caught up. For decades, cases of external events mirroring inner states were meticulously documented, leading to theories of a unified informational field beyond space and time. Quantum physics later confirmed the prediction. The act of observation changes matter. Particles separated by miles remain connected. The very equations of physics point to what mystics have always said. Everything is entangled. Jacobo Grinberg, the Mexican neuroscientist, took this further. Through experiments, he demonstrated that human consciousness directly interacts with physical reality via what he called the neuronal field. His findings showed that deep meditative states altered quantum coherence in the environment. Consciousness didn't just perceive, it shaped. His research was on the verge of revolutionizing science when he mysteriously disappeared in 1994. Some say because what he proved could not be allowed to spread, that consciousness is not secondary but primary, that it is the force that weaves reality. Even more shocking, Grinberg's experiment suggested consciousness could influence events backwards through time. Meditators in his lab shifted random number generators minutes before they even knew of their existence. This means synchronicities might be more than signals from the universe. They could be guidance from your own future self, a version of you that has already solved the problem, sending back a whisper through the veil. This is why synchronicities so often feel surgically precise, impossibly personal. Grinberg also showed that brains of deeply connected individuals fired in identical patterns, even when separated by hundreds of miles. Consciousness is not local. It weaves invisible networks between people. These findings align perfectly with Michael Talbot's holographic model of the universe, that reality itself is structured like a hologram, each part containing the whole. Synchronicity is simply what happens when those deeper connections briefly become visible. But the implications are dangerous to the status quo. Because if synchronicity is real, the materialist worldview collapses. Power systems built on separation, scarcity, and control cannot survive in a reality where everyone knows they are active co-creators. That's why these ideas are ridiculed, suppressed, erased, not because they lack evidence, but because their implications are revolutionary. You have been conditioned to see life as random fragments, but nothing is accidental. Every event, every thought, every encounter is precisely coordinated through resonance and vibration. Just as two guitar strings tuned to the same note vibrate together across space, your dominant emotions, beliefs, and energy broadcast a frequency that attracts matching experiences. Your personal vibration is not metaphor. It is a measurable field created by your brain and heart. Experiments show your heart's field is 60 times stronger than the brain's and extends meters beyond your body. This field shifts dramatically depending on your emotions. Fear and scarcity create chaotic interference patterns. Gratitude, love, and peace generate coherence. What you call external reality is simply the holographic projection of these vibrational states. Negative synchronicities, struggles, obstacles, repeated failures, aren't punishment. They are feedback. Positive synchronicities, opportunities, breakthroughs, chance encounters, are also feedback. The universe mirrors your frequency with perfect precision. This flips the entire paradigm. Life is not happening to you. It is happening through you, responding to your frequency in real time. This explains why some attract abundance with ease while others struggle despite working harder. They have unconsciously mastered frequency alignment. History's most successful innovators didn't rely only on logic. They trusted intuitive alignment. They followed the synchronistic flow. Even neuroscience has uncovered the networks behind this. The default mode network, active during introspection, is more connected in people who regularly experience synchronicity. Your brain is literally wired for it. The pineal gland, the so-called third eye, contains crystals that respond to electromagnetic fields, functioning as a biological compass tuned to the field. That sudden knowing, that inexplicable sense of direction, is real. It's your biology communicating with the universe, and whether you believe in it or not, this mechanism operates. Just like gravity doesn't care about your beliefs, vibrational resonance shapes your reality regardless of awareness. The difference is, gravity is automatic, while your frequency is adjustable. You can tune it. You can choose which station of the holographic universe to dial into. Modern quantum mechanics confirm what mystics and seers had always whispered. At the deepest level, reality is not solid, not fixed, not separate. It is probability waves collapsing into form through observation, and your awareness is not passive in this process. It is the trigger that determines which possibilities crystallize into matter. The mysteries of physics, superposition, entanglement, non-locality, are only confusing if you cling to the outdated belief that the world is a machine of disconnected parts. When you accept instead that reality is holographic, that each piece contains the whole, the mysteries become elegant. Synchronicity is not an anomaly. It is the signature of a universe designed to communicate with itself through you. The illusion of separation is the greatest trick ever played. You believe you are locked inside a body, watching the world outside, but your consciousness is a field, infinite and non-local, constantly interacting with the broader universal field. Your so-called personal life is the interface point of this exchange. Every thought, every belief, every emotion broadcasts into the field, shaping the probabilities that collapse into your experience. Spiritual traditions that declare you create your own reality are not speaking metaphorically. They are stating physics. The tragedy is that institutions that depend on compliance work to bury this truth, mocking it as New Age fantasy, ensuring people never take it seriously. Because if they did, society would transform overnight. Victims of chance would realize they were always co-creators. Nothing in your life has ever been random. Every repetition of numbers you notice, every perfectly timed encounter, every dream that manifests days later, all of these are the holographic universe speaking directly to you. The language is symbolic. It uses patterns, numbers, archetypes, and synchronicities to bypass the rational mind and strike at something deeper. Repeating numbers are one of the most obvious forms. When you keep seeing 111, it signals accelerated manifestation. Your thoughts are crystallizing quickly. 222 appears when you're on the right path despite appearances. 333 confirms support from higher realms of consciousness. These are not superstitions. They are codified messages, consistently reported across thousands of lives, because the numbers carry vibrational signatures recognized by the field. Animals appear as messengers too. A hawk swooping across your path when you're making a decision. A butterfly fluttering during a period of transformation. These are not accidents. They are symbols resonating with your subconscious, triggering recognition at the exact moment you need it. Talbot's research into holography showed that symbols function as access points into the field. They are doorways where information flows from the universal into the personal. Prophetic dreams are another channel. When you dream of something and it unfolds days later, you are not predicting the future. You are accessing the field beyond time. During sleep, your filters relax, and you temporarily perceive a wider spectrum of reality. That is why so many breakthroughs, warnings, and insights arrive through dreams. Archetypes form the deepest layer of this language. Universal symbols like the hero, the mentor, the guardian appear in your life as living synchronicities. When you encounter someone embodying those patterns, it is not coincidence. It is the hologram expressing an archetypal truth through your personal storyline. These archetypes are not just stories, they are energetic structures guiding human evolution. Digital synchronicities have emerged as a new frontier. When the right song plays at the exact right time, when your phone buzzes with a message from someone you just thought of, when algorithms serve you exactly the video you needed, these are not glitches. The universal intelligence simply flows through technology as easily as through nature. The internet itself functions like a global nervous system, transmitting synchronistic signals across the world in real time. Think of those uncanny moments online, discovering the exact answer you needed, stumbling on a post that feels like it was written for you, or meeting someone in a forum who changes your life. These are not accidents of data. They are the universe using the internet as a channel of collective consciousness. Consciousness does not care whether the medium is a dream, a number, a hawk, or an algorithm. It speaks through all of them. Your challenge is not whether synchronicity exists. It always has. The challenge is whether you will train yourself to notice, to recognize, and to interpret it. Because from childhood you were programmed to dismiss it. It's just coincidence. It's your imagination. This reflex of dismissal is the very mechanism that disconnects you. The first step is to simply pay attention. Keep a journal. Write down the repeating numbers, the strange alignments, the dreams that spill into waking life. Track the animals, the symbols, the feelings. Over time, a pattern emerges, a unique symbolic vocabulary tailored just for you. The universe speaks in universal archetypes, yes, but it also speaks in personal dialects. What a crow means for you may not be what it means for me. The point is not a dictionary. The point is relationship. Distinguishing real synchronicity from projection is crucial. Projection happens when you force meaning onto events because you want it to be there. Real synchronicities carry a different energy, a quality of surprise, clarity, and resonance that feels undeniable. People describe it as a click, a recognition, a physical sensation of coherence. You feel it in your body before your mind can explain it. Moments of flow, when life unfolds with ease, when doors open effortlessly, when everything aligns, are signs you are in resonance with the field. Persistent obstacles and breakdowns are signs of misalignment. These are not punishments or rewards, they are feedback. The field is neutral. It reflects your state with perfect precision. Amplifying your perception requires stillness. A hyperactive mind scanning, analyzing, and worrying cannot detect the subtle whispers of synchronicity. Meditation, creativity, time and nature. These quiet the filters and expand awareness. Grinberg documented that mental stillness reconfigures neural networks, allowing more information from the field to enter conscious perception. This is neuroplastic change, not metaphor. When you reflect on synchronicities without forcing meaning, insights arise organically. Ask yourself, what part of my growth is this illuminating? What pattern is being challenged? What potential is awakening? The answers often arrive as intuition, not logic. You recognize them not because you reason them out, but because they resonate with a deep sense of truth. Most people live as unconscious creators. They react to life, attributing struggles to bad luck and successes to chance. This passivity is precisely what institutions want, because a population that sees itself as victims is easy to control. The real revolution begins when you shift from unconscious participant to conscious co-creator. Once you grasp that your frequency determines which probabilities collapse, responsibility shifts inward. You stop only managing external actions and begin managing the internal states that precede them. Leaders who understand this often describe impossible streaks of luck, opportunities falling into place, connections appearing out of nowhere. These are not luck. They are frequency alignment. The same applies in relationships. The people you attract are mirrors of your frequency. Repeated destructive relationships are not curses. They are reflections of unresolved inner patterns. Until you heal them, you will keep attracting them. Once the internal frequency shifts, the external mirrors change. This is why some relationships feel destined, why others repeat until lessons are learned. Even family dynamics follow this. Children often choose parents to trigger precisely the conditions they need for growth, whether challenging or supportive. That's why siblings in the same family live such different realities. Each is working through a unique, synchronistic arrangement tailored to their evolution. Reading relationships as synchronicities transforms them. Instead of asking, "Why is this person doing this to me?" you ask, "What part of me is this person mirroring?" That shift dissolves blame and turns every conflict into an invitation to expand. Decision-making changes too. Logic has limits. Synchronistic flow often guides you to paths that seem irrational in the moment, but reveal themselves as profoundly wise later. Following the flow means aligning not with the easiest path, but with the truest one. The greatest obstacles to manifestation are not lack of knowledge or technique. They are unconscious frequencies of scarcity, fear, and unworthiness. These distortions cancel out conscious intentions. You cannot affirm abundance while vibrating lack. You cannot invite love while radiating fear. The true work is transforming the subconscious. That means facing the limiting beliefs that run beneath awareness and rewriting them. Journals, affirmations, therapy, energy work, all are tools to change the field within. Because once the internal frequency shifts, the hologram must rearrange. It has no choice. This is also where responsibility evolves. In a synchronistic universe, morality is not about obeying external rules. It is about recognizing that every thought and emotion vibrates into the field and returns amplified. Integrity becomes natural, not because of fear of punishment, but because you directly see how your output becomes your input. A human being aligned with this reality cannot be controlled by propaganda, fear, or bribes. That is why this truth has been buried. Not because it lacks evidence, but because it creates free beings. An individual who truly sees that nothing is random becomes ungovernable. They break the spell of separation. Science and spirituality converge here. The cutting edge of physics, the deepest wisdom traditions, all say the same thing. You were never separate. Consciousness is non-local, interactive, participatory. The synchronicities in your life are not glitches. They are the operating language of reality itself. Every pattern, every number, every dream, every chance encounter is a node in the holographic web. Your emotions, your predominant states, determine which nodes light up for you. Fear tunes you into frequencies of scarcity and struggle. Gratitude tunes you into opportunities and expansion. It is that simple and that profound. Knowing this changes everything. Because from this moment forward, every synchronicity is not an accident. It is communication. The only question is, will you listen? When you start living with the awareness that everything is connected, you stop chasing life and start allowing it to unfold. You realize that forcing outcomes through sheer willpower is less effective than shifting your internal state. Because when the inside changes, the outside has to follow. The hologram cannot resist. It is designed to mirror. Look at the great innovators, artists, and visionaries. They weren't simply logical planners. They were tuned to a frequency. They followed inner signals that made no sense to others at the time, but aligned perfectly with the larger flow. What seemed like leaps of faith were actually acts of resonance. They trusted that the invisible network would support them, and it did. This is why Steve Jobs insisted on intuition. Why Nikola Tesla spoke of receiving ideas from beyond. Why countless mystics, entrepreneurs, and creators describe guidance that feels otherworldly. It isn't otherworldly, it is the synchronistic field. The same field available to you right now if you train yourself to perceive and respond. The pineal gland, long revered as the third eye, is part of this navigation system. Modern science has found it contains magnetite crystals that react to electromagnetic fields functioning like an inner compass. This is not mystical poetry, it is biology. When you feel that deep knowing of which way to go, it may literally be your pineal gland reading the field. Think about what this means. Your body is not just flesh, it is an instrument tuned to universal currents. Your heart radiates an electromagnetic field 60 times stronger than the brain. Your emotions charge that field with frequencies. Fear scrambles it. Gratitude harmonizes it. The field then interacts with the quantum sea around you, attracting experiences to match. This is why gratitude is not just a feel-good practice. It is a technology. By authentically generating gratitude, you tune your heart field to higher frequencies. The universe responds because it must. The hologram reflects coherence. What spiritual teachers have taught for centuries, science is only beginning to measure. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The field does not care what you want. It responds to what you are. If you vibrate scarcity, affirmations of abundance will fall flat. If you radiate fear, rituals of courage will not work. You cannot trick the hologram. You can only align with it. This is why inner work is the real manifestation practice. Not repeating words without conviction, but shifting the emotional frequency that underlies them. The subconscious beliefs you carry, often inherited from family or culture, broadcast constantly. They shape your world whether you acknowledge them or not. To become a conscious creator, you must bring those hidden frequencies to light. Write them down, examine them, transform them. When you dissolve an old belief of unworthiness and replace it with the felt knowing of value, reality shifts. People treat you differently. Opportunities arrive. Doors open. Because the hologram has a new template to reflect. This is not philosophy, it is mechanics. Just like tuning a guitar string, when you shift your internal vibration, everything tuned to that note resonates back. The universe cannot help it. Resonance is law. The internet has amplified this. Algorithms, which seem mechanical, actually mirror the holographic principle. They feed you what you radiate. Your attention is energy. What you click, what you focus on, creates loops that bring more of the same. Digital synchronicity is not just convenience. It is the field using technology to reflect your state at lightning speed. This is why you must be deliberate with attention. What you feed amplifies. Focus on fear, you will be served more fear. Focus on inspiration. You will find yourself guided toward uplifting synchronicities. Attention is the currency of creation. Guard it. Direct it consciously. Consider those moments when you stumbled upon exactly the right video or article or comment online that shifted everything. That wasn't random. That was the field using the network to deliver what you needed. Consciousness flows through all channels, biological, natural, and technological. The most important shift is this: stop dismissing the signs, because the conditioning is deep. From childhood, you were told not to trust your imagination, not to read into coincidences. That reflex is programming. Undo it. Start paying attention. Keep your journal. Notice the numbers. Track the animals. Write down the dreams. Don't rush to interpret. Just record. Over time, the unique language between you and the field becomes clear. This is not superstition. It is calibration. You are learning the code by which the universe speaks to you. Authentic synchronicities have a quality. They feel undeniable, like a bell ringing. You may feel goosebumps, a rush of clarity, a sudden calm. Your body recognizes them before your mind explains. Trust that. The body is part of the instrument. Flow states are the ultimate confirmation. When you are aligned, life feels effortless. Resources appear, people show up, events unfold with grace. That is resonance. When everything stalls, blocks, or collapses, that is misalignment. The field is neutral. It reflects, not punishes. Learn to read the reflection. Meditation is not optional in this process. It is how you quiet the noise enough to hear the whispers. In silence, the filters thin, and you perceive more. Grinberg showed that regular stillness rewires the brain, expanding perception itself. Meditation is not just relaxation. It is restructuring. Ask the right questions when synchronicities appear. Don't demand explanations. Instead, wonder, what is this showing me? What belief is being challenged? What part of me is awakening? Insights will arise not as thoughts, but as recognition, as truth felt in the bones. Most people never get this far. They keep living as unconscious participants, blaming luck or fate, celebrating wins as chance, resenting losses as unfair. That stance wastes the greatest power a human has, the power to shape. Institutions thrive on this passivity. A society of unconscious creators is predictable, controllable, easy to manage. The revolution is simple. Recognize yourself as a conscious co-creator. Shift from victim to participant, from chance to choice. That one shift changes the game. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Opportunities begin to appear. Resources align. Relationships reflect healing instead of wounds. Business leaders who embody this describe impossible streaks of fortune. They are not manipulating reality. They are cooperating with it. Their frequency attracts the right people, the right deals, the right timing. Relationships become teachers. Each person mirrors your state. Repeated destructive patterns are feedback, not curses. Heal the inner distortion and the outer loop breaks. Partners, friends, mentors, even strangers, all serve as synchronistic mirrors. Once you see this, blame dissolves. Growth accelerates. Some connections feel destined. Impossible coincidences bring people together, as if designed. And maybe they are. Soul agreements set before birth, to awaken each other at the right time. Family dynamics, too, are synchronistic contracts. Children choose parents for the lessons they need. Siblings walk parallel but distinct paths, each tailored by the field. Once you grasp this, conflict itself transforms. No longer, why are you doing this to me? But what part of me is being shown? Every challenge becomes a doorway. Every clash becomes a mirror. Decision-making shifts from logic to flow. Logic is limited. Flow is guided. The synchronistic path is rarely the obvious one, but always the true one. And in hindsight, it reveals itself as perfect. The obstacles you face are not random. They are reflections of inner frequencies. Scarcity, fear, unworthiness. They sabotage manifestation until addressed. Conscious creation is not about forcing outcomes, but cleansing distortions. Once cleared, the field delivers with uncanny precision. Responsibility in a synchronistic universe is radical. It is not about rules imposed by authority. It is about knowing every thought and emotion vibrates into the field and comes back amplified. Integrity becomes natural, not because of fear of judgment, but because you directly experience the feedback loop. This is liberation, because when you see the loop, manipulation loses its power. Propaganda, fear, scarcity, they stop working. You see them as distortions you do not have to resonate with. That is why this truth was hidden. Free beings are uncontrollable. Science and spirituality meet at the same conclusion. You are never separate. Consciousness is non-local. Synchronicity is the language of the hologram. The repeating numbers, the encounters, the dreams, all are not accidents, but messages. Your emotions are the tuning fork. Fear tunes you to struggle. Gratitude tunes you to expansion. The choice is constant. Which frequency will you maintain? From this moment, you can no longer call anything random. Every sign is communication. Every obstacle is feedback. Every synchronicity is a doorway. The question is, will you walk through? When you start realizing that nothing in your life is random, you begin to live differently. Every meeting, every delay, every sudden change of plans becomes significant. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin asking, what is this showing me? That one question transforms everything. The repeating numbers you see are not quirks of perception. They are the universe's way of coding information directly into your awareness. They are like mile markers on a hidden road, signaling where you are and where you're heading. Each sequence carries its own resonance. 111 often signals manifestation opening. 222 is a message of alignment. 333 is confirmation of guidance. And when you see them over and over, it is not chance, it is communication. Animals too become messengers. The hawk appearing when you face a decision, the butterfly landing during transformation. These are not poetic coincidences. They are frequencies speaking through biology. Ancient cultures knew this. Modern science dismisses it because meaning cannot be measured. But meaning is the very language of the synchronistic field. Dreams are another channel. Prophetic dreams are not glimpses of a fixed future, but access to the non-linear field where all possibilities exist. In sleep, the filters relax, and you slip into direct awareness of this field. When the dream later unfolds in waking life, it is not prediction. It is alignment with the pattern you already touched. Archetypes are the deepest layer of this language. When your life suddenly mirrors the hero's journey, or you encounter a wise teacher or a threshold guardian, you are not living a cliché. You are playing out universal patterns embedded in consciousness itself. These archetypes activate potentials within you. They catalyze growth. They are not random. They are the script of evolution. Technology has become a new medium for synchronicity. That ad that appears at the exact moment you needed it. The song that plays on shuffle with the message you were waiting for. The comment that feels like it was written for you. These are not glitches. They are the field speaking through digital networks. The internet is humanity's nervous system, and synchronicity now flows through it as naturally as through dreams or nature. Even stranger are digital twin flames, people experiencing uncanny synchronicities online, though they have never met in person. Posting the same thought at the same time, glitching devices together, appearing online at identical moments. Consciousness entangles through any medium, physical or digital. The field does not care about distance or technology. It only cares about resonance. The conditioning you've received was designed to blind you to all this. From childhood, you were told not to make too much of coincidences, to dismiss your intuition, to value logic over feeling. That training was not innocent, it was deliberate. A society that ignores synchronicity is easier to control. People disconnected from their inner compass are dependent on external authorities. Breaking that conditioning is liberation. The first step is paying attention. Write down the patterns, document the signs, build your personal synchronistic dictionary. Because while archetypes are universal, the symbols in your life will be unique. The crow that visits you may mean something different than for another. The number you see may have a message tailored only for you. Over time, you develop fluency. You learn the specific ways the universe communicates with you. You begin to trust it. At first, it feels strange. Then it becomes natural. Eventually, you realize it was happening all along. You simply weren't noticing. Distinguishing true synchronicity from projection takes practice. Projection is when you impose meaning onto an event. Authentic synchronicity has a clarity, a resonance, a sense of inevitability. It clicks. You feel it in your body. You know it without needing to explain. That energetic signature is unmistakable. Moments of flow confirm it. When life moves with ease, when opportunities open, when resources appear just as needed, that is alignment. When everything blocks, when delays pile up, when nothing works, that is misalignment. The field is a mirror, not a judge. Learn to read the reflection. Daily stillness sharpens perception. Meditation, creative immersion, nature walks. These thin the filters of the mind and allow subtle patterns to be seen. Grinberg showed this scientifically. Regular stillness rewires the brain, expanding perception itself. It is not mystical, it is neurological. When synchronicities appear, ask, what aspect of me is this reflecting? What belief is being revealed? What part of me is ready to grow? These questions unlock insights deeper than logic. Truth arises not as thought, but as recognition. The tragedy is that most people never realize any of this. They live their whole lives as unconscious creators, reacting to circumstances, blaming luck or fate, and missing the signs. They waste the greatest gift a human has, the ability to shape. Institutions encourage this. Passive population are easier to control. But once you see, you cannot unsee. The revolution is awareness. The realization that you are a co-creator, not a victim. That your frequency shapes the hologram. That nothing is random. That every event, every meeting, every delay is communication. Business leaders who live this way speak of impossible streaks of fortune. They are not manipulating reality, they are cooperating with it. They are tuned. They radiate a frequency, and the world reflects it back. Relationships too transform. No one is random. Each person is a mirror. Destructive cycles repeat until the underlying belief is healed. Then the pattern dissolves. Partners, friends, mentors, even adversaries, each reflects something in you. See it, integrate it, and the external changes. Some relationships feel destined, orchestrated by impossible coincidences. Maybe they are. Agreements made before birth to awaken each other at the right time. Family, too, is synchronistic design. Children choose parents for the lessons they need. Siblings walk parallel but distinct paths, each aligned with their evolution. Once you see this, conflict changes. No longer, why is this happening? But what is this teaching me? Blame dissolves. Growth accelerates. Decision-making through synchronicity surpasses logic. The logical choice may look safe but dead. The synchronistic path may look risky but alive. And later it proves perfect, because flow always knows. Blocks are feedback. Scarcity, fear, unworthiness. They sabotage until cleared. Conscious creation is not about forcing, but cleansing. Once the distortion is gone, manifestation is effortless. And when you do, life changes. The veil lifts, the chaos organizes, patterns emerge. The universe stops being random and reveals itself as a living conversation. You realize you were never alone. You were always guided. The signs were always there. You just had to notice. So begin. Pay attention, record, trust, align, and watch as the world rearranges itself around your frequency, because it must. The hologram cannot resist. It is law.